So Football Manager 2026 is now just around the corner. With that being said, we have not one, not two, but three teams who will be in a desperate need of a rebuild. Team number one takes us to Spain, and it is none other than Deportivo La Coruña. They've had some superstar players over the years, Roy Mackay, Ricky, and don't forget the attacking maestro in Jalminha. When you arrive at Deportivo, they have a small but modest list of honours. They have one La Liga title to their name and two Copa del Reys. Over the years, they've had some fantastic players, legends like Valeran and Donato, and icons such as Bebeto and previously mentioned Jalminha. They have a fantastic stadium in the Riazor, also backed up by some very good facilities. When it comes to finances, don't be expecting much room to be able to manoeuvre in the transfer market. They have got £1.5 million on FM24, and I dare say it will be something very, very similar on FM26. The finances at the football club are stable, but the projections definitely don't make for good reading, and they need a return back to La Liga ASAP. A club of this stature, a club with such a rich history, should have no problem getting back to La Liga, but that's where the real challenge is going to start. Even though there are probably some better teams in the Segunda Division, you have some real quality at your disposal. Starting off with Luismi Cruz, formerly of Sevilla, will be a very important player if you are going to push for promotion. Quality of Jose Greguera in the centre midfield, who will be able to thread them balls through the eye of the needle. The former Arsenal graduate out of the academy, Charlie Patino, plenty of potential, will start the game with fairly decent stats and will be able to offer something as you progress through your time here at Deportivo. You've also got the very talented 20-year-old PK, or if we may say his actual proper name, Yeremy Hernandez Hubas. Very, very talented, can do you a job, will improve massively, and I think even on Football Manager 26, this guy will get a bit of a boost and he will be a very, very important player for you. This squad has a very, very nice balance of youth and experience, and the experience coming from players like Mikel Balenciaga, the former Atletico Bilbao fullback. Another experienced player in Sergio Escudero. So you've got a really, really nice blend. Really going to help these young players reach their potential and help nurture them on and off the field with some of these older guys around the football club. It is going to be no easy feat to get Deportivo back to the top of Spanish football and maybe, just maybe, playing in some European competitions once again. The second team for your potential rebuild takes us to Italy, and it is none other than Parma. And let's not overlook some of the legends over the years, the likes of Gigi Buffon, Lilian Thuram. Let's not forget the Argentinian Juan Sebastian Veron. You will be entering a club that has really been to the top and also then all the way to the bottom. They have one UEFA Cup Winners' Cup, two Europa Leagues, one Super Cup, three Coppa Italias, a Serie B, a Supercoppa Italiana. They really have won so much silverware, but fallen on hard times as of late. But it has been a team really blessed with quality and talent over the years. Some of the legends, Hernan Crespo, Nevio Scala, Fabio Cannavaro. We all remember Faustino Asprilla, and the list really, really does go on. You will start off with some fantastic training and youth facilities, but with the junior coaching and youth recruitment both deteriorating massively, that's where Parma are going wrong. They're not going to get big budget to spend. They need to bring the players back through the youth setups. Can you be the person to step in, potentially bring the next Buffon, Lilian Thuram, Hernan Crespo through your ranks? Since promotion back to Serie A, they have got a £20 million budget on FM24. I can't see that really much changing on FM26, so you will have a few pounds to spend in the transfer market. Make no mistake, it will be a long way back to the top of Italian football and a very, very long way back to the dizzy heights at the top of the European rankings. Expect a very, very difficult time in Serie A. If you are going to take this Parma job, you are going to be one of the favourites to get relegated. Even though you're going to be one of the favourites for relegation, you still have some very, very good players at your football team. Starting off with Adrian Benedziak, the Polish youngster, is a very, very good striker, can also play on the wing as well. You have the experienced hitman in Patrick Catrone, a very hot prospect in Gaetano Oristano, a very, very bright future ahead of him. You will have the young midfield maestro of Adrian Bernabe, formerly of Manchester City, offering you a lot of quality in the centre of the park. So there are a few very good players at this team, but where Parma absolutely comes in clutch is the potential. They have so many young, talented players. If you can survive the first season, steer clear of the relegation zone, you will find your players jumping up astronomically in transfer value and quality. And even in 2, maybe 3 years' time, you could have a squad good enough to compete for the top 6 in the Serie A. But be under no illusions, you're going to have to overtake the quality. The teams of Napoli, Fiorentina, both the Milans, Juve, Atalanta. The quality in this league is far, far superior. You're going to have to put your managerial skills and take them to the next level to be able to compete at the top of Italian football once again. The third team takes us to the Premier League, and it is none other than Manchester United, a team really falling on hard times, and some of the transfers over the past 10 years have been absolutely tragic, considering they used to have the likes of Rio Ferdinand, the midfield maniac in Roy Keane, and let's not forget the one and only legendary CR7 Sue. When you arrive at Manchester United on the first day, really the list of honours goes on and on and on. 3 Champions Leagues, 20 Premier Leagues, a Club World Cup. They really have won everything in world football. Some of the players over the past 10 years or so have been so bad, and it really, really does put things into perspective when you look at some of the icons and legends. They've had Schmeichel, Vidic, Evra, Ronaldo, Beckham, the likes of George Best, Matt Busby, Dennis Law. The list of these players really, really does go on as well. So it's a very, very sorry state of affairs regarding personnel for Manchester United as of late. The facilities, of course, what you expect from a top club like Manchester United, is the best of the best. And training facilities all the way down to youth recruitment is at the top and sort of cutting edge of world football. Even though a lot of money has been spent in the summer transfer window, there is still going to be some room to manoeuvre in the transfer market, and I can't see that really changing too much on FM26. Expect to have a budget of anything from about 80 to maybe £120 million to spend to improve your squad. Of course, being Manchester United, you are never really going to have any money worries at all. One of the biggest clubs in world football, and the amount of shirt sales and everything else that goes along with it, money is going to be no problem at all. So you will get back from the board. The projection doesn't make for good reading. It is dropping dramatically. But saying that, if you can get these straight back into the Champions League, the first time I'm asking, expect that to go up and you'll be back in the green before no time. Since the change of ownership at Manchester United, they've had manager after manager after manager. Can you come in? Can you get this ship steadied? And can you get them competing at the top of world football once again? Regarding the expectations from the board, I don't really see these changing too much up on FM26. They're going to want you to get in the Champions League, and they're going to want you to go deep into the FA Cup as well. And as easy as that sounds, getting Champions League football, it's not so straightforward. The whole of the Premier League now is very competitive. Everybody is improving, but you're going to have to find a way past Manchester City, Liverpool, Newcastle, Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham, even Villa now massively improving in the Premier League. So it's not going to be an easy task to break straight back in them Champions League places. The squad you'll have to work with from day dot at Manchester United is still absolutely exceptional. Expect nothing less at Manchester United. But also, what can we expect regarding downgrades? Are we going to see Casemiro, Luke Shaw, Mount, maybe even Bruno Fernandes getting a slight nerf on FM26? If that happens, it could be a little bit of a cause for concern going forward. You're going to have the Slovenian hitman up front, the big, massive monster in Benjamin Sesko. Can you get him firing on all cylinders? you're going to have the very pacey and very talented Brian Mbeumo. Can you get him playing back to his potential? Been a little bit of a slow start for Manchester United, but definitely has the ability to cause problems for any opposition. You're going to have the Brazilian magic from Matheus Cunha joining from Wolves. A quality player, hasn't really set the world alight yet at Manchester United. But if you can sort of, get some of that form he showed at Wolves, some of that quality, some of them goals, some of the assists. Let's not forget Lenny Yoro, one of the brightest and most talented centre defenders in world football. Can you get him regular football? Can you get him anywhere near that 5-star potential? And you may well be able to nurture him, like I said, to one of the best centre-backs in world football. And at only 18 years of age, the world really, quite literally, is at Lenny Yoro's feet. The last player I do want to touch on is Kobbie Mainoo. Did feature heavily under Erik ten Hag, featured heavily for England under Gareth Southgate. Not really had the same sort of game time under Amorim. And in my honest opinion, this kid is going to go on to be one of the best centre midfielders in world football. Mark my words. Can you change the formation? Can you get a permanent position in the team for Kobbie Mainoo? If you don't, you may well lose one of the best talents in world football. So overall, you will have a very, very talented squad. But let's once again reiterate, there is still a lot of work to do. A lot of dead wood. You're going to have to shift. Some bad apples coming back from loans. Will you be able to give Onana a shot when he returns back from his loan spell? Probably going to be an absolute massive no-no from most Manchester United fans and other players like Harry Maguire. I think you need to get shot, improve these positions. But overall, not the most difficult rebuild in the world. After 3, maybe 4 seasons, I think you will be competing at the top of world football once again. So you've got 3 fantastic rebuilds there on FM26 look forward to. Of course, if you can think of any clubs that do deserve a rebuild, let me know down below in the comments. It would be greatly appreciated, not just from me. There's a few people out there. In fact, there are going to be a lot of people out there that want your ideas on what would be a very, very fun and exciting rebuild. Make sure to like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And it's goodbye from me, FM Rage, Silly Wave. Take care.